What is going on? I am Cole. Welcome back to the channel. And yeah, I haven't been doing this segment in a while because last week, I think it was just because of the vacation, the long weekend, I just didn't have time to put this video together. And the previous week was one of those weeks where it was kind of the end of the month. You mainly only get like annuals and a few other stuff. I think I only actually picked up 4 books from my shop. So, either way, I wouldn't have even gotten a total of 5. But hey, we are back and I'm about to show you some of my most anticipated comics for September 14th, 2022. My most anticipated comics for September 14th, 2022. One of the biggest things that I really like to say, and if you've watched this segment before, you've probably already heard me go over this, but the program that I use to go over my comics is League of Comic Geeks. Because I use this platform, it just makes it really easy. You can actually add a book to your pull list, but you can also see all the books that are coming out for this week. I use it. It sometimes does have some mistakes in it. It's usually mainly because of paper delays or some type of a shipping error, but I know that with certain comic book publishers, they're not always updated. So I just want to preface with that because if you need a place to figure out what's coming out each week, I highly recommend League of Comic Geek. It is free. It has both an app on your phone and a website. And it's pretty good. And also because if you end up going to your shop and you tell them, hey, Cole from Cole's Comic Claim told me about these books and it's not here, what's going on? That's a little bit of the reason why or how. And sometimes I make these videos a little bit earlier, so some of the stuff just gets changed or pushed back, after I've already shot this video. So I just want to always lead with that so that I don't get anyone missing anything. Before I get into what books that I'm looking forward to reading, I just wanted to let everyone know that I have a little bit of housekeeping that I'd like to do. One of the things that I love doing is that every Sunday I make the Selection Sunday video for what stuff I'm going to rip. If you could go up here and vote for that, that would be awesome, because if we get 25 votes, I usually throw in an extra card giveaway, which just means that there's more stuff going out to people who come over here. So, as a thank you for getting enough votes, that's what I would do. And because this is the first week of full football, I figured let's do an all football rip. I am getting closer to 500 subscribers also. So if you haven't already, please hit that sub button. Please give me a thumbs up and let me know down below if there's something that you think that I could do on this channel that would help improve it for you. But let's get into these books. And the first book is going to be Do a Powerbomb number 4. This is written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, and he's doing it all. I really like what he has done. I know that, there's a lot of good books that he has out, from Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, to Beta Ray Bill, to Extremities. There's just a ton of books that he has put out, even Murder Falcon, which, oh my gosh, I read that earlier this year, and I loved it. And Do a Powerbomb is nothing short of all of those titles. This might be the front runner to one of my favorite series that is coming out currently. I mean, it is a wrestling book, but, it's just a little bit more, there's a lot here, and this is the number 4 issue, so it's probably definitely 100% not a great jumping on point. But if your shop has all 4 of these issues, I would highly recommend picking them up. I think that this might be the book of the year for a lot of people. I know I personally have been loving it, but I know that there has been a ton of hype about this, and pretty much everyone that I've talked to has really loved what this book is. Daniel Warren Johnson takes these kind of things and he can just make a story so good. He adds in so much emotion and makes it so real that this is a book that I have to say, I don't often say you should pick 4 books off the shelf, but if you have not read Do a Powerbomb, I highly recommend seeing if you can get them all. I would say get that first issue. If that first issue didn't do it for you, then maybe this isn't for you, but I would really like to know if you did not like Do a Powerbomb, because I think that this might be an easy front runner for Book of the Year this year. The second book on this list is also not a great place to pick up, but it is A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, number 11. This is from writer Rick Remender and artist Andre Lima Ajuro. Sorry, I probably mispronounced that, but I have been really, really loving this book. It is super fast paced. I know that I went to Las Vegas in March, and one of the books that I had downloaded on Hoopla was A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, the First Trade. I had already read the books, but I just was like, hey, I would really love to reread this. And I think I read that book twice on the plane. It is quick book. I know that some people really don't love that because it's kind of not, the bang for your buck or whatever, but it's a super quick read. But that first issue was so good for me. If you have not checked this book out, I know that the first volume is on Hoopla, so make sure to check that out. It is kind of this crime tale that really does a lot of the storytelling and the art. There isn't a huge ton of like dialogue or narrative in this, but it's so well done that I really think you should check it out if that is something that speaks to you. I know that this is a book that I have heard a lot of people really dislike, but there are a lot of people that really love it. And I think, most of the dislike is just how quick of a story it is, that some people just maybe not think it's worth getting it because of the price point. Book number 3 is True Cult number 2. I know that I had number 1 on this list too, and I ended up grabbing it, and I really, really dug this story. It's from writer Scott Bryan Wilson and artist Lena Kangas. And yeah, there was just a ton of fun in this book. So the first issue kind of goes through, and it's, involving like this fast food manager who ends up going and robbing a bunch of places. So it kind of leads with this cool cliffhanger at the end of the first issue. I'm really excited to read this. It is from IDW Publishing, who I don't think I talk a ton about on this show. I know that originally, I think this book was put into a Kickstarter, and then maybe it's been pushed from IDW before. I know that there were a few people who were talking about this book, about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years. But if you have not checked it out, they should be on your shelf. I think most people, even, comic shops that don't get a lot of indies are still grabbing a lot of IDW stuff. So hopefully you're able to grab this. I think this is a pretty good book. If you enjoy crime, I would highly recommend it. It also has a lot of pretty funny stuff inside of it too. So once again, my third pick is True Cult number 2. The fourth book on the list is one that is bringing us into the number ones. And while this is a number 1, it technically is not a number 1, but I also didn't read the first kind of arc of this, so I can't tell you if I think this is going to be a great starting off point or not. But this is The Bone Orchard Mythos 10,000 Black Feathers number 1. I know what you're thinking. That is a mouthful of a title, and I don't disagree with you. So I think what's happening here is that the Bone Orchard Mythos is this new kind of collective of horror stories that Jeff Lemire is doing on the Image imprint. So what that's going to do is that you have writer Jeff Lemire, you have artist Andrea Sorrentino, which they did Gideon Falls together, which if you haven't read that, it was a fantastic book. They also did Primordial, which was all right. And I'm really excited to kind of see what they bring to this. I know that Jeff Lemire kind of got rehired into Image with this huge contract of a bunch of different horror books, and I think they're kind of all under this imprint. So there was another one, I think it might have been called The Passageway. I could be wrong on that. If I am, let me know down below. But yeah, I think that, this is probably a good jumping off point, because I think that the Bone Orchard Mythos is kind of a universe, and all these stories kind of linger in together. So I think that I have these books somewhere already. I know that I pre-ordered them from Gmart for the first one, so I'm hoping to grab those, hopefully read them before this week so that I can really check this out and see if I do it. Jeff Lemire has been one of my top favorite writers, and I think some of his horror stuff, especially with Andrea Sorrentino on art, is, a cut above a lot of the other stuff. So let me know down below, did you read that first arc? What were your thoughts, and was it a good intro to this universe? And the final book is one that I don't even know if I'm really going to grab or not, but I want to ask you, the audience, what your thoughts on this. This is Midnight Suns number 1. And I know what you're thinking. Most of the time, I am a pretty big DC guy. And a lot of these books that I've been bringing up lately are number 1s into Marvel. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't know a lot about Marvel stuff as much. I mean, I have a good amount of it. But this cover already is a DNA cover. And David Nakayama is one of my favorite cover artist right now. But we've got writer Ethan Sachs, who I have never heard about, and Luigi Zagaria is the artist on this. But what really drew me in on this is the team. We've got Magic, we've got Wolverine, we've got Blade, Spirit Rider, and Nico Minoru. I don't know who all of these people are, but I think that, Magic is one of those characters that I really like the idea of her as a character. And so many people have told me that she is their favorite Marvel character, but it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of book titles that have her in that aren't like huge stuff that you just kind of have to engulf into. But I feel like this is going to be maybe a little bit of more of like, similar to like Justice League Dark or something like that, where there's kind of some weird stuff going on here. I have not read Strange Academy, but if you are reading that, apparently one of the people they're going after is Zoe Leveyu, which is apparently one of the people from Strange Academies. So let me know what your thoughts are on them as a character and why maybe these Midnight Suns are going after them. So once again, I'm not entirely sure that this is great, but what do you think? Should I get Midnight Suns? I feel like the cover alone is worth the buy, and I'm normally not a huge cover buyer, but I think that it's probably worth it. I have been burnt, though, by the last few number one Marvel books that I have gotten, but I don't know. I don't know who Ethan Sachs is, so maybe that's going to really determine whether or not I pick this up, but let me know if Midnight Suns seems like a good book. And as always, I have been Cole. Thank you for coming back to my channel, giving this video a watch. I love talking about comics and reading new comics. So let me know, what are you looking forward to this week in comics? Is it either a cover that you want? Is there a book that I did not talk about that you think that I should be reading? Let me know. Or if there's just, any old book that you want to talk about in comics, let me know down below. I've been trying to catch up a lot, and I have been reading a lot more than I have in the past few months. So I'm starting to get back into really reading these comics. So let me know what you're looking forward to. And as always, I've been Cole. Peace. My most anticipated comics for September 14th, 2022.